We've been graced with the presence of this man, but Max Presnell, a new look Max Presnell, back from an overseas jaunt.
You're not suggesting cosmetic surgery,
I don't know what it is, but the new glasses suit?
Well, at least I can see a little bit better out of them, I hope.
OK, well, Wayne Wilson's waiting by up in Brisbane. What do you think of the new look, Wayne?
He looks smart, doesn't he? An overseas trip, it does him the world of good, yeah.
Yesterday, a big one for you at Ipswich Cup Day.
Oh, it was a marvellous meeting there yesterday, David. They tell me they had a record-breaking crowd. I haven't been able to see the official figures as yet, but there were a lot of people there, great atmosphere.
And Laurie Mayfield-Smith continuing a great domination of that Winter Carnival.
Oh, sure. He won the Tattersalls Cup with Sonata, and yesterday, with her stablemate, Fine Spy, was able to win the Ipswich Cup. And it was a great performance, too, because he had to cover a little bit of ground. He's a little field-shy, the horse, but when he took him wide yesterday, he circled them and gathered them in very quickly in the straight, and he was able to defy the challenges. Great performance by Fine Spy, and Laurie's done a marvellous job with him. Well, before we look at the eyeliner stakes from Ipswich yesterday, Max, we might just go back. A fortuitous meeting with Dermot Weld at Dublin Airport. You've come back just with a haste of information for us. Yes, Dermot was saying that he had a horse called Zagreb, which he felt would win the Cox Plate this year. I saw Zagreb get beaten at Leopardstown a few days earlier, and I pointed this out to him at 2-1 on, and he said that Mick Kinane gives Zagreb a little bit too much to do. Dermot also said that he would be winning the Melbourne Cup in 1997 with a horse called Gordy. He took Gordy to Ascot, backed it from 14s to 5s, and it got in. So Dermot is on fire, but Zagreb came out in the Irish Derby, which we have tape of, and Mick did not want to ride Zagreb, and that is Zagreb in front. And you wonder whether there are a vintage crop of 3-year-olds in Europe this year, but by gee, Zagreb does look very impressive there. In 4th place was Deshanta, the runner-up in the English Derby, unlucky. So it's going to be interesting to see whether the say an average, a 3-year-old from an average crop in Great Britain can beat our Cox Plate horses, the likes of Saintly, of course, Octagonal, and Nothing Like a Dane. But Dermot, genius trainer, and that was his tip, Zagreb for the Cox Plate this year. One worth following. OK, well, yesterday the three-state racing was highlighted by some magnificent finishes. The Grand National at Flemington, 4,800 metres, 18 jumps, a long, long journey, but at the end, so close to the finish. Yes, well, of course, the shoe was disappointing in this race, had a massive impost, but never really looked comfortable. But it's a great test of horse and man, I'd say, the Grand National, Wayne. You see horses like this. I know National Hunt jumping racing has its critics, but they are great events. I liken them to prize fighting. I suppose you say, well, is there any real purpose to them? But I'd still crawl over broken glass to see a good fight or a good steeplechase and hurdle. And I think this is emphasises that point. They can be great events. Wayne, a marvellous finish over 4,800 metres, and Harlan Bill in the very last stride at Flemington yesterday. It is quite remarkable. You can cover that sort of distance and get such a tight finish at the end. And it was a real soul-stirring struggle in the run to the line there, with both horses giving their all and fighting every inch of the way, and the odds just going in favour of Ricky Maund at the end there, and lucky for him to pick up that ride. Yes, well, Highland Bill in the Grand National yesterday at Flemington, and what's that? In the last stride victory. Oh, yes, just in the last stride, but what two courageous performances by horse and jockey. Well, at Rosehill yesterday, the Joanne Series final, and Seeker showing absolute class despite carrying 61 kilos. Yes, Seeker, she's a class act, and Wayne, I do think Seeker's the type of horse that would have done well in the Stradbroke, but she's far too good for these horses. I think John Hawkes can place her in an event like the Villiers to advantage, but 61 here. Look at the way Rodney Quinn rides her very, very confidently, and she's certainly well above average. She'll now have a short break and be brought back. You wonder whether she's quite up to Doncaster standard or Epsom standard, but nevertheless, she'd be competitive in all those top-class races. It seemed as though she had a little bit up her sleeve at the finish there. He was just riding her along heads and heels in the run to the line, and considering the weight that she carried, Max, it was a pretty impressive performance. A race like the Epsom may not be out of the question for her. Well, 61, and the last two winners of the event have had 52, 51, and they couldn't run as fast a time as Seeker, and as you pointed out, she had something in reserve. Yeah, I'm sure she did. Part of a winning double there for Jay Hawkes again. Great stable. Wayne? Oh, yes, yes. Also, they had a blowout
Paying
here
attention there,
They had a blowout here in Queensland during the carnival. They've had a marvellous year. And Hawks, he's in great form at the moment, isn't he?
Well, what about the eyeliner yesterday over 1,200 metres and that man R.S. Dye on Masked Party? One of the great finishes.
Well, this is a heart-stopping finish, this one. There's Masked Party on the outside. He's about to run to the lead from Our Civic Hope. Look at Code. He's off the rails now, tackling Masked Party. Masked Party looked as though he was gone. Now, Dry Humour on the extreme outside. And look for Rancho's Coup, held up for a run there. He burst through the last little bit. Have a look at this for a finish. They draw to the line. They hit it. And Masked Party on the inside just got the decision there. A heart-stopping finish. A couple of hard luck stories out of the race. Dry Humour, he never got on the track. An outstanding performance by him. And Rancho's Coup held up, as you saw there, at a crucial stage in the straight. And I think had he got clear, he probably would have won the race. But let's not take anything away from Masked Party. He's obviously very smart. He's an improving young horse. He did race outside of the leader. They did run 1:09.3, just 0.2 of a second outside the track record. And he was able to defy those challenges in the straight. So a tidy performance by Masked Party to win it. Now they're looking for an invitation to Hong Kong for the big $1 million race up there. Shane Dye feels that the horse is maturing all the time. Graham Rogerson believes the same thing, and he could be cherry ripe come Christmas time for that $1 million race in Hong Kong.
Well, Max, Wayne mentioned that you look pretty smart since you came back. Highly intelligent, but they're a bit school librarian.
Don't get carried away. Now, don't get carried away.
So what about the Black Book? Can you look better into the Black Book with those glasses?
I'm going for Dry Humour as a horse to follow. I take note of what Wayne said. Wayne also pointed out that Dry Humour was wide in the run, but 51.5 yesterday. Won't go up too much in the weights for that performance. Always promised to be a racehorse. I think the future could produce a result in this area. I do think that Seeker will win more races, and I've got to put Zagreb in. Zagreb is the Dermot Well tip, of course, for the Cox Plate.
Well, Wayne, on the trip, apparently Max's room is rifled. That's about the only way they get money out of it, isn't it?
I think so too. Max, how are we going to follow Zagreb? Have you got an international account there somewhere? Can we back him in Ireland somewhere?
Wayne, you're not paying attention, mate. The Cox Plate at Moonee Valley.
OK, but if you get on him overseas somewhere, put something on for me, will you?
Oh, definitely on Cole Tidy's account.
Good on you, Max.
OK, Wayne.